So welcome to this easy Linux box. It's going to be about Mirai, which is going to be like basically the only thing you need is going to be Raspberry as the password, as it's going to be password reuse. And we found this out because we saw that the website that was being used was actually a Pi hole. So you can assume, well, it's just a guess, but you can assume it's going to be Pi server that's running it. And indeed, you can just SSH to Pi with the password of Raspberry, and you get in, and you can find the root flag by using strings on a USB stick where it's mounted at. So first of all, we have TCP open, DNS open. TCP meaning most of the time it's going to be a domain zone transfer possibility, right? So we need a domain name as well as a IP address to be able to do a domain name transfer. So we just sync the domain names and IP addresses, and then we have a website. So because we don't have a domain name yet, let's just go over to the website itself. And we see nothing. That's weird, right? Like we can't really see nothing, but what did it say? The site doesn't have a title. So that's weird. If you use curl with I, you can see I is actually, I'll say it. I is going to be show headers. So you can do show headers as well, and you will get the same results. But basically we see 441 found black hole for internet advertisement text. Okay. So we can just look into XPi hole. Like what is it? I believe it's something to block network-wide ad blocking. That's what it says, right? So if we just look into this, we can see something, right? So I'm expecting to find this on like whatever we're trying to attack as well, or whatever we're trying to get into. Because we can't find it here, it's a good idea to start and sort of try to figure out like how does the website work. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the website itself. And we're just going to go onto Foxy Proxy, which is already enabled, and we're going to go intercept, and we can refresh the website. Now, in this case, if we just request it, I can actually show you. Do intercept, respond to this request. If we intercept it, we can see we have a 401 found. Like this is the exact same result, right? So this is like sort of what we're looking for. But now if we look into the request again, but just change the header to like anything we want. So we can say, for example, host. Like it doesn't really matter what we put here. Response to target forward. We see 200 okay, which is really weird because this wasn't like as expected. And we see a website blocked with also black hole for internet advertisements. And then we have something else, but this is interesting. Pi.hole blocking page. So it uses the domain name of pi.hole, probably, right? Or it's pointing to it, but it's going to be local. Anyway, it's interesting. And here as well, it's going to say, what does it say it again? HTTPS pi.hole admin scripts. So this is probably going to be running local. So we can actually try this by adding it to our host file. So sudo nano etc host. And then we can insert our IP address with pi.hole to add the domain to our thing. And before we do anything else, let me just do a DNS zone transfer. So we can try this one. And the only thing we see is pointing to this IP address. We're not sure like what is happening, but at least it's pointing to something. So because instead, if you do, for example, Mirai.hackthebox, you won't be able to sort of find anything, or hack the box or pi or whatever. You're not going to find anything because this is not related to each other. But this one is. So we can actually use this. And now that it's added, we will just go to our thing, change it. And we already see something different, which looks good. But we can try to close this window. And actually wasn't sure why it's working now. But if we go to pi.hole, we get an admin panel. So with Burp Suite didn't really do anything for us. The only thing that it did was just reveal like what kind of domain name was used. And there's going to be different methods, but I think Burp Suite is one of the more like, I think it's a better one. Well, not a better one, but it's just more generally used. So it's easy to find stuff about it, and you can just generally use it faster, in my opinion at least. So in here, we won't be able to log in. Oh, Burp Suite still enabled. So we won't be able to log in, but we know it's going to be Pi system. So what we will do is instead, we will just try to SSH into the system with Raspberry. If we Raspberry is going to be the default password. So default password Raspberry Pi. We can see it's going to be Raspberry. So if we just use that, we actually get onto the system. And there's not going to be a root flag on this machine. So we actually want to sort of look into how do we get root. First thing you always run is look at your rights. Like what kind of rights do we have? We have all. Wow, this was an easy box, right? We can just go interactive mode and sudo, and we have the box. So let's just look at root.txt. Well, no, because they actually made something more difficult here, as they tried to sort of spice things up, and they have deleted the file. It's going to still be on the system. the thing is, Linux won't know where to look when it has sort of the file, like the file name is deleted. So the link to the location of the contents is going to be deleted. But if we look into the contents of what is here, let me actually just clean this up. We see not much. This one is just standard, TP mass temporary. This one is interesting because this is going to be a USB stick, and you can see it's mounted on a USB stick, and I think this is the file location on the system. Fastest way to get it is basically using strings on /dev/HTB, because it's going to be a file, I believe. And immediately we see we have the flag, because that's the only thing that remotely looks like a flag. Another way you could have gotten this, which I think is more sort of impressive, if you use hex debugger. So xxdd, I believe one is it installed even? Hello. Okay, I don't know. xxd/dev/HTB. Let's see. Oh yeah, there we go. Basically, you're going to see a whole bunch of zeros because it's going to be an empty USB stick, right? Nothing is written to it. So this is all still possible file location to write things to it, like an image or maybe a text or whatever. But we're not going to be able to see like where it is. So we want to filter. So if we just copy this, so we do the same command, but we're going to say we use grep and then v, because v is going to be inverted search. And we're just going to select this sort of string, basically. So what we're now getting is things that don't have 0, 0, 0, 0. And we still see some FFFFF and whatnot. I think we can do another grep. Maybe that's fun. Insert search with FFFF. Maybe we even get less results. I'm not even sure if this works. It seems to work. So we get less even. But basically, the only thing, like you're looking at it, we already saw it, right? Is at the bottom you have the file name and then dammit.txt and also dammit. So these are going to be the contents of these files. So you have the file or like the flag and the text itself. So this was quite the easy box, and actually that's already it. So yeah.